Oh, good morning. Oh, the sun is out. A little bit of rain cloud way, way up high. So maybe a sun shower. But it looks like the wind pushed the typhoon higher up over this particular part of Luzon overnight. Do you know, we had a brownout, very common here in the Philippines. Don't know what time it was, maybe 1:30 in the morning. I woke up discovering that the light had gone on in the room, the automatic one, what they call it, emergency lighting. No more lighting candles. And in doing so, I also thought, I'm going to check to see if that little gadget I bought from Lazada is doing its trick. And sure enough, it was. We had internet, even in a brownout. And it cost me about 230 pesos. So what it is just a backup battery in a way, which feeds the Wi-Fi, and and it works perfectly. It's great, up to 8 hours, so well worth the investment. But something I noticed while I was in brownout, so to speak, and lying on my bed, my mattress, whatever you want to call it, and I do watch a lot of American news because I find that the news is very varied in America in the sense that the presenters are different. Not so much the subject matter, that changes by the minute. But I noticed that, have you noticed, I should say, have you noticed how slowly but surely around the world we're being sidelined? It's like that old program that I used to watch in Australia called Beauty and the Beast. And it was a panel of supposedly beautiful women with some grumpy old bloke as the centerpiece. And it was literally Beauty and the Beast. And they touch on to different subjects. But I've noticed over the last, maybe, yes, the last decade, how predominantly news and how it's presented is all about beautiful women, lovely hair, attractive to look at. They don't sort of, they don't rabbit back, but they have an educated knowledge. A lot of them have done law degrees. A lot of them are psychologists or something like that. But they've found their way into what is loosely called journalism. And we're now presented in a sense of the world changing. For all this women's lib and the culture of Germaine Greer, it has finally almost gone full circle. We now have women in the power position. We have women who are billionaires. We have women that are influencers. I mean, you don't have to like her money, but the image of, what's her name? Taylor Swift, little Miss Purity herself, personified. And she's now got a current boyfriend who's a football star. They deserve each other. Their egos must find it difficult at night when they rest their beautiful heads on the pillow and they're very careful not to touch each other too much. Honestly, the world has gone somewhat crazy, but what I'm meaning in this thought is how the roles have changed in life, so much so the stoic, hard-working guy coming home sweaty, dirty, throwing himself in the bath or having a shower. So fitted in the house, after a hard day's work on the mine or in the sweatshops, to his wife, smelling of perfume, kids all ready for bed, tea on the table. A thing of the past, I think, for sure. But there's nevertheless a lot of Americans and English and Aussies that seek out that lifestyle here in the Philippines. They, they've got a big thing to discover that not all women are, they're not all lapdogs, guys. They're not lapdogs. They don't even want to be your nurse. You're buying their time, and that's the reality of it. I mean, I hate to say it, but you're buying a hooker. You're buying a maid with what is called with benefits. Now, if she's of your attraction, then that's your benefit. If she's anything more than a maid, then that's a bonus. But that's the reality of having an Asian girlfriend. You can kid yourself that they come from these traditional ways of being. I mean, I have an American friend who's got a Filipino wife, and you know, many of these women come from quite poor backgrounds. They've maybe worked overseas, they've got an experience of being an overseas foreign worker, but ultimately they haven't been exposed to the world as such. And therefore, their way of thinking is somewhat, I won't say limited, because that sounds like they're a bit dumb, and they're not dumb at all. But they're not exposed in the full sense to all the corruption that goes along with living in the West. But it's around the corner, guys. It surely is. And for those that sit there and say, well, I'm 60 now, but in 6 or 8 years I'm planning coming there. I'm going to get myself a nice young wife. And I'm going to live the dream too, John. Really? I don't think so. I think it's going to become harder. And the old idea that there's plenty of fish in the sea, just remember those fish swim in a shoal called the Philippines. And therefore, if you've ever watched a shoal of fish being circled by the sharks, they all move together in rhythm like this. And it's only occasionally that the shark can get in there and get a mouthful. And that's what's happened. They're not just the lone fish wandering around looking for a little partner here and there, because they're not. They're awake that you are an easy touch. They're awake because you're not awake. You don't realize how much you give them. You don't realize how you're changing their lives forever. You're spoiling them rotten. And by doing so, it might make you feel good. And it surely does. We always like to see a smiling face. But they're not smiling maybe for the right reasons that you think. They're just saying, I got another scooter out of this one. How do you know that the brother's not riding around on the last boyfriend's scooter gift? So really, really give it a thought. Is it really worth tying the knot? Is it really worth building a home? If you can't afford maybe a modest rent, and you can't afford to live on your own and have the fringe benefits of lots of friends, varied friends, then maybe the Philippines isn't really that place for you. And in actual fact, is there really, in 2024, is there really anywhere in the world where you can snap your fingers and they'll fall at your legs, begging you to take them back to your little cave? I don't think so. My thought for the day, number 2. Don't forget to like, share, thumbs up, and subscribe. Bye now.